Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talk to Dr. White show live. Yeah, it will be streaming simultaneously on Twitter, on Periscope, also on Facebook, and also on YouTube. Okay, Dr. White,
Thank you, thank you,
go ahead.
thank you. Again, welcome to the first Dr. White show. I know that we're stuck. Okay, it's back on. Welcome everyone to the first show of the Talk to Dr. White. Again, my name is Dr. White. I welcome everyone, all the viewers, all of the viewers who are listening and watching to this show. We have a very interesting topic that we're speaking about today. Um, Before we begin, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Mrs. Candy, and I will have her explain to the audience who she is, what she do, and um, and so forth. I also welcome Dr. Lance, and I'll also have him explain to everyone that's watching who he is, what he does, um, and Mr. Bernard Jennings. I know that many of you may know Mr. Jennings locally here in Miami, and so while he's actually on an important call right now with the state Democratic Party chairwoman, so we'll excuse him for that. And so today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is about the ballot, mail-in ballots, the pros and cons of mailing in our ballots, and also um, a very hot topic that we all know about in this country, um, the protests that happened, erupted after the George Floyd incident. So we're talking about from the protest to the polls. And so I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Candy. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to the dialogue.
Hi, I'm Candy Conda. I am a Hall of Famer, two-time Hall of Famer, first African American woman to own my own women's pro basketball team. I also have an app, which is our Life After Sports app, and we work with athletes and we work with entrepreneurs across the country. And I'll leave it there because I don't want to take too long. I know Dr. Lance has a short window today. Dr. Lance,
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. I'm happy to be on the show. My name is Dr. Lance McCarthy. I'm an economist. I have done economic research on the national level. I actually consulted both President Clinton and President Obama. I'm an economist. I have created a great organization called Global 1000. You mentioned protest. It started as Ferguson 1000 over 6 years ago, and we have developed that organization into 7 cities around the country. I truly believe that economics and politics are collectively important, and we as an African American culture to do that. And lastly, you mentioned the George Floyd. I'm happy to say that we have created and will be announced in a couple of weeks at the national meeting in DC, the Justice for All Foundation, which will look at opportunities from protesting and look at economic development strategies for those families that have been killed by police, as well as the communities that need healing in reference to economic and social injustice.
okay,
Oh,
Bernard.
Bernard, please introduce yourself. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, Bernard, what you do, and so take it away, Mr.
Okay,
Jennings.
my name is Bernard. My name is Bernard. Yes, my name is Bernard Jennings. I'm the president of the Biscayne Gardens Chamber of Commerce. I also happen to be at the 34th Congressional District on behalf of Congresswoman uh, Frederica Wilson. I'm happy to announce tonight that on this Friday, the president signed into law the Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys, House Bill 2163, which I was very happy to be a contributing author to that bill that passed Congress and the Senate with the help of Senator Rubio on the Republican side, and initiation by Congressman Frederica Wilson on the House side, and the president signed it into law. It's a very historical bill. It's the first bill that's incidentally in this bill, besides helping young men, there's a portion of the bill that I helped to propose.
I can't hear you,
It's going to
Bernard.
help nationalize some standards for police officers across the country. In case people don't understand that the terminal certificates, the same type of certificate, either you're an electrician or you're some other terminal type of degree. Most professions, when they have these terminal certifications, they have to take what they call CMEs. Continuing law enforcement officers are the only ones that only do it once when they leave the academy. They never have to do it again. So when you go from state to state, county to county, city to city, precinct to precinct, they have a different schedule of how they train. They may train on tactical, they may train on race relations, they may train on community relations, they may train on diversity, but it's different from every place you go. It could be totally different in California, totally different in Miami. It could be totally different in Opelika versus Metro-Dade County. So hopefully this bill will cause a ripple effect and create some national standards across the nation so that police officers can have the tools they need to really community police, so they can be able to create a balance between the ethnicities and the different religious cultures and the issues that affect them for as mental health, so they'll be able to understand who the people are they're dealing with in a national way, and they'll be able to record incidences on a national level of what happens with law enforcement. So I'm proud to be a part of that. Congratulations to Congressman Frederica Wilson. I'm happy to be here this evening.
I see you have another person in the show there.
Oh, this is Ethan, my son. Come here, Ethan. Now, Ethan is the first child to appear at the national convention the last 4 years. He was there as a Hillary Clinton delegate with myself, a non-voting delegate. I carried him on the House floor as the first parent to do so, the first Black man to do so. He made national headlines across many newspapers across the country. And say hi, Ethan.
Yeah, Ethan, how are you, Ethan?
You know who you're voting for. Tell him.
Joe Biden!
Okay. We just finished the question district. We had 45 cars going through the district and leading to the North Dade library where we all cast our votes. And there were hundreds of people there and signs. It was a big rally, and we gave some speeches. And we're ready for this Kamala Harris ticket, joining in with Joe Biden and taking this whole United States from red to blue and turning this thing around.
So that's one of the things that we were talking about is now that Kamala Harris is on the ticket, her and all the rest of because I don't want to make this a Kamala Harris referendum, but what do all of the vice presidential nominees, and Dr. Lance, you can tell us, what do all of them have to offer? How can they help us flip all the seats blue? What do they need to do to make sure that we flip all the seats blue and that Joe Biden wins?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. And so I know that it takes a lot of energy. So we have a little boost because of Kamala Harris's her being appointed as the VP or tapped to be the VP, brought some energy to South Florida. And so, secondly, what's important? Secondly, Candy and everyone out there, is where they're putting the money. Okay, you have very important people in the community, okay, such as Bernard Jennings, such as other leaders that we know in the community, that the party needs to invest in. That being said, let me be specific. What I mean by that, you have people who own Black media, radio shows, political consultants, people that are in the community who have been in the community on a local level here in Dade County or wherever throughout the state, that is well known in the community. And so we don't need the same old. Democrats don't need to do the same old thing. They need to put money not in YouTube, not on the television screen, but in the hands of the people on the ground. And so that's one of the things, important things that they must do if they want to surely bring it home in Florida, because in Florida is one of the states that uh, we have to, you have to win in order to become the president. So
So
that's one
that,
of the topics.
hold on, I want to ask Dr. Lance. Dr. Lance, everyone said you needed a special VP to win Florida. What does that mean for the Kamala Harris?
Well, I definitely believe that this time around, we should do more than just have a black face in a high place. We definitely want her to be the vice president, but we need a specific strategy that will include black wealth. And that will be two-pronged. One, specifically looking at black businesses. We know that the federal government has the 8A program, the set-aside program. We have to have a deliberate strategy to help black businesses roll. And then secondarily, the opportunity zone model is one of the best legislations I've seen. We need to take that and again make sure that we're creating jobs in urban communities, particularly in places like Florida, where you have just a lot of tourism. So I believe that we should not apologize. I'm happy that he picked her, but we have to have a black agenda and not apologize for that, particularly in reference to black business and the job creation with a technology emphasis. Again, I've always tell people that politics and economics are brothers and sisters, that you have to have a plan and not apologize for that. So we know that great Obama came in and we were excited to have a black president, but we have to have a specific agenda. And I believe that's centered around black business and black job creation and not apologize for it.
Okay, Bernard, you have someone asking, are any mailboxes being moved in Miami-Dade like they are nationally? Bernard? This is from Craig Christian. He's asking, are any mailboxes being moved in Miami-Dade like they are nationally?
Can you repeat the question for me?
Okay, it's on the screen too. Can you see the screen?
I saw the news when they talked about that, and I haven't personally seen any mailbox being removed, but we know that it's happening because the president said he was defunding the U.S. Post Office, and he clearly said if they don't have the money, I guess they can't do national ballots. So he's intentionally trying to suppress the vote. That's his intention because he knows he's in a losing place right now. He knows he doesn't have the votes. He knows he doesn't have the support of his own party. The Republican Party is in a frenzy right now. They've made some bad decisions. They followed him along the way. A lot of their careers on the line on a national level. These senators are at the ballot box just like others. They're at the ballot box not only as voters but also as candidates, and they're losing. So this effort to suppress the vote is something that the president orchestrated. Number 45 is orchestrated, and I wouldn't doubt that that's happening. But we need to be vigilant. If you have an absentee ballot and you haven't mailed it in yet, don't mail it in. Bring it in to your voting precinct. The polls are closed right now in South Florida and all of Florida probably. So you want to take your ballot and Tuesday morning, wake up 7:30 in the morning, drink a cup of coffee, and go get in line and bring your absentee ballot. And if you don't have an absentee ballot, go and vote on Tuesday. To make a difference, vote. Bring 5 people with you. That's how you make a difference.
Okay. Dr. Whyte, do you know of any mailboxes being moved in the Miami-Dade area? Post mailboxes?
To my knowledge, being moved in to Dade County.
No, in certain places in the United States, they're actually moving and picking up post boxes by the masses and just taking them away. And Mr. Christian was asking, do you know if any are being moved in the Miami-Dade area? Like literally taken up and being moved so that people cannot mail their ballot?
No, not to my knowledge. No, I do not know. But it's a very good question. and I will look into it. I know Mr. Christian very well. Thank you for watching, Mr. Christian. I'll find out if there's any, in fact, and I will get back to him. But that's a very important question. That's a good thing because that's one of the things we have dealt with is the ballots being moved, misplaced in that way, and so we want to make sure that's not happening. Um, but the thing is, the pros and cons of voting early is what one of the things we would like to emphasize. What are the pros and cons of vote by mail? And so I would like to ask Dr. Lance, what is that? What is your take on that, Dr. Lance? The pros and cons of the vote by mail.
Yeah, so there are actually 3 or 4 states, including Washington. That's all they do. So it has been proven that it is a successful model for people to vote by mail. Your president is talking about that the post office can't do it. The post office has been around forever and can take any amount of mail. So there have been proven states and cities, particularly, that have done on mail-in ballots and have done real well. Again, I don't think there should be a problem with that to make that happen. Speaking of cities and mayors, we have our great guest, Ms. Dana Kelly, who's running for mayor in St. Louis. Dana, can you say hi to our other speakers and give a little bit about your background and who you are and why you're running with this great Black female success all across the country?
Hi, Dana. Welcome to the
Dana.
show.
Hello. Sorry about that. I'm late.
It's okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, my name is Dana Kelly. I am very happy to be here. Happy for you to have me. And I am running for the mayor of St. Louis City.
Yes.
All right.
Dana, give a little about your background and why you're running for mayor.
Okay, wonderful. So a little bit about me. I am from the wonderful city of St. Louis, Missouri. I come from about 19 years of corporate finance. I am what people call a serial entrepreneur, but I'm a businesswoman. I come from, like I said, corporate finance. I've owned my own financial firm for almost 16 years. I just recently I just recently started a restaurant, one of the biggest restaurants in the Midwest. And then I made an announcement that I'm running for mayor for the city of St. Louis.
Great. Ms. Kelly, one of the things we're talking about that's very important, the pros and cons of voting early, vote by mail. What do you think? What are the pros and what are the cons you think?
Okay. So I think pro is avoiding lines.
Hold on. One second, Donna. 1 second. I just want to make sure that there's some. Can everyone hear clearly? Because I'm getting some.
If you have another device near the woman you're using, it's going to create feedback. You got to move your extra devices away or turn them off or turn them down.
I don't have any devices.
You sounded really good at first, and then now there's feedback. I've been having this the whole time. I don't know.
I don't have any devices.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the pro is voting early. I think there's a big pro on voting early. Getting those counts in pretty early is good. Avoid, especially now during the pandemic, getting down there and avoiding the lines and crowds is really nice as well. Can you guys hear me? I can hear you.
Can't hear you.
How about right now?
Okay, yeah.
Can't hear you now. Yeah.
I have muted my mic. Do you think the vote by mail or mail-in ballots will have an impact on your particular race for mayor?
Yes and no. So I think vote by mail works. I think it works well for our elderly. So in St. Louis, in particular, our races, we had an issue because they didn't work they weren't fair. And so they didn't, they used those to cheat in a way. And so right now, and because I was thinking more in the terms of our pandemic and the safety of our people, and in hopes and in a more optimistic way that and for as far as Millenial Vote, I was thinking in that frame, and so. But I do think, as far as like the mayoral race, I don't know that it would help as far as numbers are concerned, but just in the safe space, yes.
Okay.
Candy, what is and this is a general question. What do you guys think about the protest, and how do you think that the protest will it have a powerful effect on how the Democrats come out to vote in this general election because of what happened, during the George Floyd incident?
I personally pray that these millennials will use the same motivation that they use to protest to get them to the polls. I'm just at a loss of how we make that connection. How do we keep them revved up with that same energy and get them to the polls?
I'm sorry, I missed the entire statement. I didn't get to hear the question at all.
So we titled this From the Protest to the Polls. So the
Okay.
question is, how do we energize these millennials with the same?
I personally know the organizations that I am connected with here. They have been very successful in connecting the two and getting them to the polls as well. So I agree with you, Ms. Barr. They have to make sure that when they are our activists, our fellow activists, that not only are they activating them and getting them more interested in our legislation and our policies, that they are also activating them to those polls.
And as I said earlier on in the conversation, I was very fortunate to assist in the Ferguson unrest, and we turned that protest model into economic development, job creation. And now with the George Floyd fiasco, it has gotten more people aware, more corporations I've ever seen before. So we can leverage that not only on political and voting, but I think the millennials are also looking at how they can grow and create jobs and things of the nature. So I think it's an unfortunate incident, but we have an opportunity now with this wave of how do we assist African Americans all across the country, from protesting to not only oppose, but protesting for economic development and all kinds of activities. And I'm just very happy to be a part of that. That's part of Dana Kelly's campaign. If y'all don't know, Ferguson is right outside of St. Louis, and we've looked at solutions to move this forward. Also, St. Louis has been listed as one of the most dangerous cities in the country, and that's why we want to be able to help take the protesting model with our administration to do job creation.
All right, that sounds very good. Really, that's a very good point you made, Dr. Lance. Bernard, what is your take, Bernard, on the pros and cons of vote by mail?
Well, first I want to say sorry that I'm a little distracted, but I have some heavy responsibilities in regards to the Democratic Party on the state level. I was just on the phone with our national chair. We're getting ready for our kickoff event at 7 p.m. this evening amongst all the delegates statewide. We just finished a multi-county caravan of all the congressional districts. So it was a unison type of thing where we did caravanning through the congressional district to bring light to the campaign and bring some headlights to the Biden-Harris ticket to make sure that we have at all levels as many Democrats winning their seats across the state. And I'm sure this is happening on a national level. So, if you notice on video, I'm doing some things. I'm multitasking, sending out messages and doing things at the same time, and taking care of a 5-year-old because I can. All right. But, when we have these things that happen, it's unfortunate we have these incidents of violence and the incidents of protest. But when you take a step back and you do an outer body look at what's going on, almost like the rat in the box, and you're looking at what's going on in the box, it really at times, unfortunately, I don't want it to be taken in a demeaning way or non-sympathetic way. It takes two extremes within a community to find the middle ground to bring people together. In every argument, there's two parts of an argument: the left side and the right side, the upside and the downside. And if you didn't have the extremes, there's no way you'd know what the middle is, because everyone would be complicit in accepting one thing or overzealous to another side. So as we move through these things that are happening, okay, Ethan, no problem, we will be able to find the middle ground. I'm confident that when we establish a new administration from the presidential level, because everybody knows in your family, on the job, on the sporting field, leadership comes from the top down. And the United States of America is in a disarray because the leadership from the top is in a disarray. And because of that, we have all these things that go on in regards to Karens, in regards to other people that are just outbursting and making comments that are inappropriate, unnecessary, stepping out of the box of, being people that they aren't because they think they can. And it's really not acceptable to, many of us. So I think as we look at these things that happen that cause disturbances in communities, it's unfortunate these things happen, but at the same time, it takes two extremes to find the middle ground. And we're going to find the middle ground in middle America, right here in the United States, right here in Florida, right here in Miami-Dade County with the Biden-Harris ticket. And that's what I'm here to represent.
So I think, so I have a question. What do you guys think about the fact that the Democrats are holding out for the stimulus checks, for the, their, what is it, $2 trillion, $3 trillion budget?
Deficit.
But no, I'm saying the budget right now that they're trying to pass that includes unemployment, health care, voting rights money. I would definitely like to hear from all of you guys. Do you think they should be holding out? Do you think they should come to the table so that the American people can actually get some relief right now? Because now I think they're gone until September. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think the Democrats are right to actually hold out to make sure that they get everything that they want in the HEROES Act? Or do you think they make a deal? What do you guys think?
I like to take a shot at that if I can.
Go ahead.
If I will. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks as I've interacted with people at different levels, virtually and otherwise. Words are so important. And to say that Democrats are holding out or we're not participating, you hear it in media, so we're repeating it. That's not true. The Democrats have put forth several plans. The Republicans have put forth no plans. And then when they came with one plan, they didn't want to hear what the Democrats had to say. Even in their own party, the Republican Party, Mitch McConnell, their leader, didn't even attend the meeting where they were negotiating these plans because he said, no, if it's not my way, it's the highway. But unfortunately, that's not how things are supposed to work. And, there's always been a rift between Republicans and Democrats. Every year for the last 4 years, 8 years, 16 years I've been in politics, there's always a rift. But the difference is that the people we dealt with in the past in the Republican Party acted like gentlemen. And even though you didn't agree with the other side fully, you sat down and you talked and you worked things out and you horse trade. You have a lot of local officials here that get in trouble because they're working with the Republicans to get things done for the community. We're in Miami-Dade County, we're a Democratic pretty much community. But at the same time, you have to understand the governor is what? Republican. The House of Representatives in Florida is what? Republican. And the Senate in Florida is what? Republican. So you can rest on your laurels, stand on your soapbox and preach Democratic pride and Democraticness all through the session. And guess what you're going to bring home to the people that are waiting, the people that said the same things that you said, Ms. Boss, that we need health care. We need food stamps. We need social services. We need our streets paved. We need a government that works because they have the funding to do the things they need to do for the people in the community. If you stand on your soapbox as a Republican or Democrat, especially I'm talking to Democrats at this now, and you don't reach across the aisle and trade horses and negotiate and work together, we're going to have nothing. So in the national level, it's the same thing. You know, that you have the House of Representatives, which is controlled by Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, but the Senate is Republican. And then we have this guy in the White House that we don't know what he is, because he don't know what he is. So what do we have to do? We still have to work, and we're going to present what needs to be presented, and hopefully, as along the way, even in his method to appease. If you notice that he said no to the $600 a week unemployment, but then he acquiesced, you know, being on his laurels, he's always right, and he said, okay, let it be $400, except the federal government will do $300, and the states can pick up the $100 if they choose to do so. Now, we know a lot of states don't have the money, so what is he talking about? But it came out in the paper, he looks real bad, and all of a sudden he got a bright idea. Oh, I think I'm going to be doing this really soon. Now he's saying he's going to go back to the $600. Why is he doing that? He's placating to the public because he knows it's time to vote. He knows there's an election coming in 2 months, so now he's going to try to buy our vote. At the same time, while disenfranchising the ballot box. He can't have it both ways. We need to stick to our guns. Yes, we need to stand for our principles and what have you, but at the same time, we need to sit down with Republicans and work some things out and get it done. And on the national level, we'll win.
Dana,
I agree that we're supposed to work across the aisles, but we're right. The Democrats are known, and you should. They're supposed to fight for all citizens, right? So they're right to fight for more money because they are representing all citizens. And that's right what they're doing. And you are right. I agree with you. The only reason that he is doing this is to buy those votes.
I guarantee you that when Biden and Harris win this election, and they will win this election, they're going to be the president, vice president for all the people, not just the Democrats. Republicans, if you're watching, don't worry. Don't be dismayed. We're not going to do what number 45 did to you or to us, because he did it to you too, because the Republican Party used to stand for something. They used to mean something having to do with Christianity and morality and doing what's right. But they got a couple two extremes that are keeping them together, and the rest of what they're doing, they don't even know what they're doing, and you don't know what they're doing, and guess what? I don't know what they're doing. So time will pass, and the Harris, and we know you can't say it out loud, but when you get to the ballot box, Republicans, do the right thing and make sure that number 45 goes back to the Trump Tower. Oh, wait a minute, he moved to Florida. Oh, wait a minute, he's...
Well, Bernard, yeah, I think Bernard, the thing is, ladies, let me ask you this. Let me say this to you. So there needs to be, Donna and Candy, there needs to be a change in the mindset of, if we're Democrats and we reach across the aisle to work with the Republicans to get what we want, we will not end up being crucified.
Okay, we're there? Okay, great. I think that was the only one on air. I had a solo.
Bernard, you froze. We moved on.
Okay.
You froze and we moved on.
That's a warning that I'm talking too much. No problem.
No, Bernard, hold on a second, Bernard. To add to what you're saying, and this is what I want all of us to talk about this issue. If hey, Ethan, how you doing, buddy? No, Bernard, what I'm saying is, if we're Democrats and we're reaching across the aisle to work with Republicans, okay, the mindset is that we're going to get crucified by our own Democrats, right? We have to change that mindset. Right. What do you wrong or right?
We do, because at the end of the day, we're all this is for every last person in the United States, right? We're working for all of us.
The least of us.
This is inclusive. This is an inclusive America. This isn't just for Democrats. This isn't just for Republicans. This is an inclusive America. We're talking about equity. We're talking about equality. So that includes us all, right? So there's no way that we can do this without everybody. So when they're talking about we need this we're not only talking about Republicans. We have some very poor Republicans. We have some very poor Republicans.
Hey, Dana, they forget that, don't they?
They do. We have some very poor Black Republicans, by the way.
Absolutely. On food stamps, etc. On public aid.
We have some very poor Black and white and Hispanic Republicans. So that I think they forget that when they talk about we can't cross those lines. We absolutely have to cross those lines.
So this question is from Karen. Karen is watching, and she says, what about the people who are questioning Kamala Harris' stance on locking up Black men?
I can
so did Bill Clinton.
I'll take that.
Okay, Bernard, you go. I love that. Bernard, I'll take that.
I have 2 points on that. First of all, I've been on social media. I'm active on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And I look at the profiles of the people who say that she's too tough on crime. That's because they're too lenient on crime. They're devious in a sense, and they want to get away with something. But Kamala Harris has been the most progressive prosecutor in the country as far as her record. She's even had a public defender that worked opposite of her, opposing her in counsel for like 15 years. That came out and put it on Facebook on my page, facebook.com/Bernard W.H. Jennings. Or if you go to Florida for Kamala Harris or My Date for Kamala Harris on Facebook, you'll see this article that this woman published that, Kamala Harris did some progressive things. When it was time to levy the death penalty because it was requested, she wouldn't do it. That doesn't sound like somebody who's, far radical to the left. Not only that, we look at her position as a prosecutor. A prosecutor's job, not only in California, but every state in the country, is to vigorously pursue a prosecution of the law, based upon the evidence presented to her by law enforcement. And that was her job. The public defender's job is to vigorously pursue an instance of a leniency for their particular defendant to the letter of the law. Pursue vigorously to get them acquitted. So what was she supposed to do? Not do her job and quit the job? I heard someone say, well, she didn't have to do that. She could have refused to do it. Okay, then someone else would be the prosecutor, not her. That was her job. If she was a doctor and she's supposed to do surgery, well, I don't like the fact that guy that I have to operate it on, he was the one that was robbing the bank when he got shot. So I'm not going to help him. That's not how it works. She has to help the guy that got shot, who robbed the bank, and the guy who was shot by the guy who robbed the bank to the same vigor. That's what the doctor would have to do. And that's what Kamala Harris did. She did her job.
Well,
So let's lay this to rest.
Bernard, I hate to interrupt you. I hate to interrupt you, but so listen, that's easy to say when you aren't the person that's been sentenced, right? And you aren't the family member of the person who had to deal with that sentencing, right? So I don't agree. And I agree with a lot of the people who are angry with Lady Kamala from that standpoint. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't agree with the hatred that they carry for her, for Sister Kamala. I don't agree with the hatred they carry for her, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because there are a lot of white people who our people voted for, who did the same thing that Lady Kamala has done. And I don't agree with the hatred and the and what they call it when they say this canceling out that they do of us, cancel so and so, cancel so and so. I don't agree with a lot of that cancel stuff that they do with us when we mess up in the area in which we allow a lot of the non-us to get away with. Now we do it once or twice, we cancel. They do it 1,000 times and we still vote them in. So that's the part I don't agree with. But I don't like.
Wait, Dr. Whyte, I just want to say one quick thing before you go. I will say this to both points is this. I think that when she was doing that job, she was doing that job. Now, what makes me angry is everyone says, well, why doesn't Kamala Harris go back and get all of the let all the people off, for marijuana offenses? But they haven't done that across the country. They can't ask her to do it because they haven't. That needs to be a national mandate, not state by state situation. Now, I also don't think that she was being extra hard because they were African American men. I think that she was climbing the ladder. She was doing her job and she was vigorously doing her job. I mean, that's my own opinion. Dr. Whyte, you go.
Well, the thing is that, I think that the level of scrutiny is always that much more harsher if you're black.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
if the police officer pulls you over, the level of aggression, or the way, um, if you say something to him, it can escalate like that, as opposed to, white person, they could say all kinds of stuff,
It's the way
and they
the way
swing their head, and the cop would just deal with it. But if it comes to a black male in particular, I know in this case it's a black female, but color does have
let's
somewhat of a role with this.
And let's not forget her good works, and that's the work for women's bodies.
and
Let's not forget the work that she does in legislation on behalf of women's bodies. You're muted, Ms. Boss, but the work in which she does for women's bodies. And let's not
Yes.
forget her good work in that area and how she fights vigorously for women's bodies.
If I
Yeah.
can to make a statement on law enforcement,
Fearlessly.
while doing this particular program, I've been in the car and I had to pull over. My battery died in my laptop. I was trying to send some messages out statewide, and I pulled into an area called Bal Harbor. And if you know Bal Harbor, that's a Lily area.
That's my district, but I'll be careful with that.
I was over there. I pulled over, and I pulled into a driveway. An officer immediately looked at me and approached me to see what the heck I was doing. I saw when he looked at me like I didn't belong. I know I didn't belong there because he looked at me like I didn't belong there. We know the feeling. But when he approached my car, I put my hand. I said, "Officer, good afternoon. How are you doing?" My car, I pulled over because I need to send an email from my car, my laptop, and I can't do it while I'm driving. Is it okay with you if I sit here for a few minutes to take care of this, because then I have to do a radio show and I gotta go? He looked at me and said, "Okay, how long can you be?" I said, "I don't know, maybe 2 to 5 minutes, but I'm right here." He looked at my car, looked at me. He said, "Okay, you're all right." And he walked away. But the way I talked to him, I didn't say, "What you want? What you stopped me for?" I didn't become aggressive with him, and then he walked away, and I stood there. I was there way longer than 5 minutes because I had to finish what I was doing. Remember, I delayed coming on the show, and then I had to move my car because the sun was beaming through and you couldn't see me, so I had to move up to the shaded area, the nice part of the place where I was in Bal Harbor, right on Biscayne Boulevard. No, that's not Biscayne Boulevard. That's A1A. And then he saw me again, and I saw him looking at me, so I stuck my head out the window. I put my picture, and I said, "Excuse me, can I have some more time because I'm not done yet?" He said, "Okay."
Yeah.
Gave me thumbs up, right? But then Karen walked by, and she looked at me like she scoped my car, my tires. I'm not sure if she likes PT Cruisers or what it is, but she looked at me like, "You don't belong here." And I swear she was going to call the police, but she looked back and the police were there already, and they left me alone. So in regards to law enforcement, I think a lot of us sometimes we address law enforcement the wrong way. We approach them wrong, and there's already an inclination, and it's a predisposition of what we're doing and who we are. A lot of times we can diffuse it, but a lot of times in our own community, and I'm talking about the black community, we make it bad for ourselves because the way we approach them, because we have an inclination about them too, and we need to be careful of that.
Well, Bernard, no, I understand. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are law enforcement.
Yeah.
That I hold in high esteem. Who are good people. I have good friends who are law enforcement. Friends that I've grown up with.
On both sides.
Both sides, right? Both sides. But what I'm saying is that, Bernard, in certain cases, you do have the issue of the person who is of Caucasian or white, giving the attitude, "Hey, what you pulling me over, officer? Why are you pulling me over? I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything."
Right.
And so it's tolerated. They have a higher tolerance level as opposed to someone black. Someone black saying, "Officer, why you pull me over? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And it goes from 0 to 100 in a second. And someone.
I agree with you. But times too, we have black officers that are overzealous and over aggressive doing the same thing. I've seen it. So it's on both. But the problem is that when it happens to a black person, it's almost always assumed that it's a racial thing. It's not always racial. I'm not saying that it's not. It is racial times, and it's racial all the time. There's both extremes like we talked about. But we need to be mindful as we move forward, because the thing is to heal and to get better and to address the problem directly and to make sure we don't make things that are problems that are not problems at the same time.
So wait. So Dana, because I wanted to get Dana's take on this. Dana, what is your experience in St. Louis, and what do you feel? Is St. Louis? I know. What is it? Freddie Gray, is that the last big issue that you guys have, national issue that you guys have had, or?
No, our last big issue was Michael Brown.
Michael Brown, right.
Right. Freddie Gray was in Baltimore.
Baltimore, okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was about to say the Stockley verdict, but that case was a little bit before Michael Brown. But Michael Brown, the Ferguson upset, the uprising of Ferguson was ours.
So what do you think about that? Do you feel that it's still a systemic problem in St. Louis?
Absolutely. St. Louis is one of the most segregated. Missouri is one of the most segregated states still today. We deal with a lot of issues, especially in our government, and it's structural in the way it is structured today. We just happen to have one of the biggest wins in having three women of color elected here. And so we just had one of the biggest upsets happen just recently. And hopefully with my mayoral win, we will get to upset them again, having me be the first woman mayor in the history of St. Louis.
So hold on. So Donna, so I'd like you to specify the upset. What was it? Congress, state representative?
So Congressman Cori Bush is the first Black woman to be elected in our first congressional seat. She unseated 20 years. She unseated a 20-year. 10 years for the congressman there, but he was there from his father. And so 20 years that family held that seat. And earlier that year, Ferguson had its first woman mayor, Black woman mayor, Ella. She is the mayor of Ferguson now. And we also have Kimberly Gardner. She is our prosecuting attorney here. She was reelected. And our Lady Tashara Jones, she's our treasurer, all Black women.
Nice. Congratulations.
So we are very happy here in St. Louis, and we'll be even happier to get our first Black female mayor.
Let me ask you, great. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that this is as a result of what happened in the George Floyd incident? I
do think the upset and the movement absolutely has pushed that forward. I think I know that the emotion and passion has assisted the efforts for sure.
Let me ask you this, everyone. This is a general question for every one of you. Do you think that are we planning enough? Well, two things. Is the passion still running strong into the general election? Do you think that we'll make it? The fire and the passion will still be strong, and are we really organizing ourselves, rallying around an agenda in an organized fashion to really make changes, or are we going off the rails? Are we becoming docile or dormant again?
I think so. I think that we are still passionate. I think the fire is still beneath us. I think that this pandemic, although very real, isn't diluting our fire the way it possibly has been meant to do at all.
I was going to say that, that's a good question because, the Florida primaries are a lot of different than a lot of other states where we actually rally in a couple elections prior to the general election. Some states don't do that. They go straight to general. And the Republicans choose not to even have a primary. They reserve everything and just give it their best into general. But we have an opportunity in Florida to actually build momentum throughout that season, the political season. We have the election for the selection of Biden as the delegate. I think it was back in February or March. And then we had the election, which is an open election for people to come and vote at a precinct or voting location for the delegates, which was in April. And then now we have today's, because I know you're not in the state of Florida, Ms. Kelly. Today was their August 18th primaries for the state of Florida. Today in Florida, all over the state, different people are voting for their local leaders, city council, community councilmen, city committee man. And Dr. Norman, I'm endorsing you, Dr. Whyte, as a
Thank you.
91 shameless plug. Right, but and then we're electing local mayors. We have controversial races, and you'll find that everything is local. Even national, it becomes local because these local races where we choose our local leaders, councilmen, school board members. We have a diverse group of people that are loving the community. They're opponents right now today, but they all are trying to do the same thing. They're putting their name and their reputation and their dollars on the line to get elected to a school board seat, to the mayoral seat, to the council seat, because they care and they love the community and they want to put themselves out there to do the best they can. We hope that's what they're all doing. We have some, in there that you never know, but at the same time, that's momentum building. And then this convergence on August 18th, which today we'll know tonight who the winners are. Then we hope that we'll take that momentum and move it through the delegation into the next 2 months to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the president and vice president of the United States. So that's what's going on in Florida. I'm not sure about other states.
Well, I'm afraid, Bernard, and I know Karen is saying Karen Vaughn is saying that she thinks that it has died down, but I would not agree with Karen on that, and I will hope that none of us will become passive or just lay down and just be not passionate again.
Someone once said, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself," and fear is the false evidence of something appearing real that is not. So we have a job to do as individuals, Karen too, and all of us, to go make sure that if you have voted in early voting today, which ended already, you got Tuesday to vote. Don't go by yourself. Bring 2 or 3 people, call 2 or 3 people, and make sure people vote. Because people are complacent. I believe people are complacent. I got better things fiasco. But if you can get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 and polls, get them there, you've done your part. And that's all we can do. We can only control ourselves. We can't control what other people are doing. But if you do your part in there and then move that into the next election, we'll be fine.
So piggybacking on what Bernard just said, I'm going to ask everybody, we've got 4 minutes left, so I want everybody to do their final hoorah, or vote for me, whatever you need. But I want to ask you guys one question. What are you doing to make sure, you personally, what are you doing to make sure that we move this agenda along? So I'll be on a call today. I was on the Elizabeth Warren campaign here with a select few women of color. They considered us the top 10 women of color here in Las Vegas. So I worked on the Elizabeth Warren campaign, which Kamala was my secondary. So I'm on a call today with the Move On organization to advance the Democratic ticket here in Las Vegas, number 1. Number 2, I ordered a mask that I had made up myself that says vote no excuses. And I'm going to be passing those out. I'm going to be selling those. I'm going to do some business cards that I'm going to pass out to every millennial and everyone. And I also talk to millennials all the time, and I debate with them when they say, oh, well, Joe Biden he's not exciting. I said, you got to play the long game. Like they played the long game with Merrick Garland. No, Joe Biden is not cute, sexy, savvy. He is not Barack Obama, but he is what we are right now. And I talk to them and explain this to them on a regular basis. That's what I am doing. And I'm passing the baton to you guys as we finish up to tell me what are you guys doing?
Right.
Ladies first. Kelly.
The same. I've joined organizations to make sure we get out the vote and make sure that they understand not voting and not standing on that Democratic seat, not standing with our Democratic Party, is standing with the Republican Party, is standing with Trump, not taking that stand and not supporting Lady Kamala and Biden, even though that wouldn't be even though that's not your number one choice, it is our choice that we have. Understanding that, because that's the number one fight right now. They're like, nah, I didn't want that person. I want that. That's who we have. Right. Because if you don't understand that's who we have, you are understanding that you are saying putting Trump back in the office. I think that's a lot of things that they are not really grasping right now. So
let me say something before. Someone, Diana Azura, said that the protests have not stopped. The media coverage has stopped. So yeah, Dana Azura said the protests haven't stopped. The mainstream media coverage of the protests have stopped. So is that really what's really happening? Is that they're not showing, what's really happening, that people are really protesting? And so, is that really happening? So I would see that being strategically done to really calm us down and keep us, in a very passive state. But we'll find out. Deanne Connolly Graham, how are you? Good to have you on. Deanne said, I need more energy now that the VP has been picked, especially with Black women. And so it's really exciting. In Miami, in South Florida, right now, you do have this really powerful energy or passionate move that's happening in the diaspora. You have the African American community and they have the Caribbean American community that is, really up in a wrap and really ready to go because of the VP, her being of Caribbean ancestry. Right. And I know one more thing before we go. I know that the issue that we're going to be talking about in the future, one of the shows to come, is the foolishness that people are saying, that the VP is not Black. She ain't Black, or she's not Black. And so
why is that?
Well, that's for another show. And I know that we could talk about, we will deal with that nonsensical statement of.
Okay. May I suggest another show too?
Yeah.
Just another show in that same thing is getting more Black men behind Lady Kamala, because they're the ones that are upset. So I would suggest for that same show, because that's where a lot of where we're lacking in niceties. Her complexion and our Black men. So I would suggest those things. Her complexion and our Black men need to we need to have that discussion. We need to heal those areas.
I agree with you. Amen, girl. Amen. Amen.
What I'm doing to help shore up the votes for Biden and Kamala Harris. Again, I'm a national delegate. I'm also on the ballot for Tuesday as a district committee man for the area. I ran on a post, so I won. I'll be organizing 15 precincts within the community. I serve as the president and CEO of the Biscayne Gardens Chamber of Commerce. I'm managing these two websites, two Facebook pages, Florida for Kamala Harris and Miami-Dade for Kamala Harris. So daily, several times a day, I'm posting information about the candidates, about the progressive stance of both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I'm organizing events. In my personal practice, my sidekick business, I do robocalls and text blasts, legal ones, throughout the state of Florida and in the nation. I'll be continue to do that, and I personally will have thousands and thousands of people going to the polls to vote. And I should say millions if provided the opportunity to do so with the campaign. So look for my call. Don't hang up on my robocall. Answer it. I have great message with someone's great voice. I know it's a little annoying, but it only lasts for a couple months and then it's over. And we'll have an economy and a country that's better, a national system that's better, a police force that is better nationwide. We'll have a Congress that's better because everybody will fall in line. The true leaders, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Well, Bernard, to answer the question, what am I doing? I'm running for the committee man. That's over 15 precincts: North Miami Beach, Bar Harbor, Bay Harbor Island, Aventura, and North Miami Beach, and Miami Shores. And so when I win, this will definitely bring a big push and a move to move us forward into the Biden and Kamala Harris campaign.
Great. And congratulations
Dana,
on your win,
thank
Mr.
you,
Dr.
Ms.
Whyte.
Boss.
We're behind you.
Yes, dear. So someone agrees with you. We do need more Black men supporting Kamala Harris. On that note, make sure you guys are following me at KC Biz Boss or at Life After Sports. Make sure you download our app on the App Store. Dr. Whyte, any form of finishing words before we?
Well, I'd like to.
Throw my handles out as well.
Huh?
Yeah, I would like to.
Out as well. Please follow me at First Lady Dana Kelly or First Lady Dana on all of Twitter and IG and Facebook, and vote for Dana Kelly or vote for Dana. That's all.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Donna Kelly for coming on the show. We welcome you to come back whenever you want. You have a family here. This is the first show that we're launching. I'd like to also thank my co-host, Candy, and great, excellent. This is an excellent show. This is one of the best shows around this country. We have so many more interesting guests that will be coming on to visit us. I'd like to thank my brother and dear friend, Bernard Jennings, also for coming on. And, we invite you to come back. Jennings, we do have a lot more to talk about. As I said, we're going to be dealing with the conversation that Kamala Harris ain't Black or she's not Black. So we will deal with that. And so that being said, I'd like to thank each and everyone out there watching this show. I'd like to thank Karen Vaughn for co-sponsoring the Dr. Norman Whyte Show. And also, we look forward to the more dialogue here on the Dr. Norman Whyte Show.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.